The Trump administration referring New York Attorney General Letitia James for possible prosecution over suspected, get this, fraud over a mortgage on a house in Virginia.
Todd Pyro joins us now with the details. Todd?
Good morning to all four of you. Remember that song from the 90s, Things That Make You Go, This is that. The Ingram angle obtaining documents from the Federal Housing Finance Agency accusing James of, quote, falsifying records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. Now, here is what she's accused of doing. 1, listing a home in Virginia as her primary residence in 2023 while serving as New York's top prosecutor. 2, James reportedly also listed her father as her husband on mortgage applications. And 3, the Federal Housing Finance Agency says she bought a 5-family home in Brooklyn, but misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in building permit applications and numerous documents. Now, this, of course, is a role reversal of sorts for James. In 2022, she won a $454 million civil fraud judgment against President Trump and the Trump Organization, stating he falsified business records and misrepresented his net worth. That case currently on appeal. James frequently sat in the courtroom throughout those proceedings. No love lost between the two, as you can see in some of these pictures. President Trump reacting to the new accusations against her, writing on Truth Social. Letitia James, a totally corrupt politician, should resign from her position as New York State Attorney General immediately. Everyone is trying to make New York great again, and it can never be done with this wacky crook in office. Fox News contributor and law professor Jonathan Turley also weighing in. Watch.
The irony is perfectly crushing. This is a person who prosecuted Trump for everything short of ripping a label off a mattress. As for James, if we apply the Letitia James standard that she created, there'd be little question here. This seems pretty straightforward.
Letitia James has not responded to our request.
This ship sails through the night. It glows in a moonlit fog. On deck, you'll find a camel, the rarest kind of dog. It has tusks like a walrus. It has humps like a whale. With fur like a lion. It has teeth like a snail. What is this I see? The sound of a camel is a magical sound to me. The sound of a camel. Bombard the corporate sea, blanking through splinting trees, emerging from the debris. What is this I see? The sound of a camel is a magical sound to me. The sound of a camel.
The sound of a camel. We have a new banger every single Wednesday for Hump Day. Today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. And as we have said many times on this program, the F around years was in the before time. To all of the libs that had a romp, took the piss out of the last couple of years, those were the F around times. Whether it's somebody who's burning a Tesla, whether it's a transgender burning a Tesla dealership, whether it's someone who's attacking a church, attacking Christians, we got plenty to talk about with Carmelo Anthony, or persecuting January 6th political prisoners, or Donald Trump. There was so much effing around. It was hard to quantify, to be quite honest with you. Some days it was just purely exhausting. Now we are starting to see the finding out time. This is the find out. 2025 is the year of finding out, and I know the finding out isn't happening as fast as some would like, myself included, but it is happening, and today we're going to talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, this glorious morning, we can announce that Letitia James has been referred to the DOJ for the same crimes that she tried to put Trump in jail for. Wow. Always accuse your enemy of that which you are guilty of. Rules for radicals. Saul Alinsky. Oh, yeah, baby. New York Attorney General Letitia James potentially facing 30 years in prison. Oh, my. First time in history, a sitting attorney general, has ever been referred for prosecution to the DOJ. Now, it stands in the hands of the Department of Justice. Don't let us down! That's what I'm going to say. Okay? I'm just going. This is the softball that's been sitting. It's like the softball sitting on the 18-inch softball sitting on the stand. Okay, take the bat and let's go. All right? But Biden reminisces about seeing colored kids in his hometown in his great return back. Someone is going to be shoved right back into the coffin like Nosferatu. Sam Anatar will join the program. He's an investigative journalist who broke the story on Letitia James. It is his fact-finding that Letitia James is now in the hot boiling water, and so we are excited to have him on the program for the first time, along with Brandon Tatum, a request from the chat. So, just letting you know, we're listening. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Gold has skyrocketed. We like being right on these things. We are right on these things. We have been right on these things. I don't lie to you. I've never lied to you on this program. If we get something wrong, we'll immediately apologize. We're not perfect, but we are right. I often tell people, we're right. We're just early. And we've been telling you for years about gold. Our friends at Advantage Gold have taken care of us. I hope that they can take care of you, as gold is just freaking going to the moon right now. Selling for $3,300 an ounce. Buy physical gold, ladies and gentlemen. Please, jump in right now. It's a smart time. The instability of these markets is going to lead to a lot of people going to stable markets. And that's what precious metals is. And that's what precious metals are. And you can do this with Advantage Gold. There's a 100% legal loophole that lets you move your 401k, IRA, or TSP into physical gold and silver, assets that have stood the test of time. This isn't guesswork. It's called a self-directed IRA, and Advantage Gold can help take care of you. You can get this set up for free. Ladies and gentlemen, Advantage Gold will make sure that maybe you get $1,000 free silver while you're at it. Text Benny to 85545 right now. Text Benny to 85545. Don't wait for more losses. Protect your future now. Data and message rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional before these decisions. I'm sure you're sick of talking to your tax professional, as yesterday was tax day. Okay, listen, you are here on the channel because of the superpower that this channel has. We have a single superpower, and it's not our Ivy League credentialism, right? It is not the fact that we think we're smarter than everybody else. I'm well aware that I went to community college in a cornfield, okay? Just like you. Working class, mucking hog stalls, right? To buy my dollar menu McDonald's food, which is how I survived the first 2 decades of my life, okay? Here's the one thing that we can do, all right? I would say maybe it's a gift, maybe it's not, I don't know. But it's what we practice on this program. Pattern recognition. We are noticers professionally. And we're not ashamed of noticing. We will openly talk about the things that we've noticed. And here's something that we've noticed. When you are effed, okay, when you're cooked, you do fake phone calls. Okay, it's just off the top here. When you're doing the fake phone call, you're done. You're done. Here's a fake phone call for Gavin Newsom, a mom who's had her entire life destroyed in the fires that Gavin Newsom created and then fomented and then made worse. A mom comes running up to him, and he fakes a phone call with Joe Biden. We kid you not. You can listen in on this for just a little bit. Here's Gavin Newsom saying, sorry, I can't talk to you.
I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2
hard
homes.
to watch, honestly. Okay, so Gavin Newsom fakes a phone call, tells this lady to F off, jumps in his car, and is out of there. Okay, he's out of there. To fake the phone call. It's a fake phone call. You saw this. We saw this on Capitol Hill. We saw that, you see it all the time. When a congressman or somebody knows that there's a reporter around, they'll fake a phone call. There's no worse example of this than Kamala Harris. And the whole reason I wanted to open up the story like this is because I love this clip so much. This clip is the wind beneath my wings. It is the salt in my coffee every single morning. There we go. Do we have a salt that lib today? We better. If not, we got to find one. I'm salting the lib today. We're salting the lib today, ALX. All right. This is Kamala Harris. This clip of Kamala Harris is there were a lot of like funny clips from the election. This is without a doubt my favorite clip. It might be my favorite political clip ever of an opposition party. It's so perfect. Kamala Harris, can you please pause it, is at a phone bank. You know what a phone bank is. And she's making a phone call to a supporter. Problem with Kamala is that, one, she, much like Joe Biden, doesn't know how to use a phone. Two, she decides to show the world that she's not on an actual phone call by flipping the screen around and showing the audience that she has her camera open and she's not currently calling anyone. Please freeze on that frame. Thank you. Make it big. There you go. You had it right there. There you go. Let's go. Big. No, right here. That's what I mean. Okay. So, there you go. Look at this. Look at that. Look at her go. She's got the camera phone flipped around on her own face. Okay? Here. There you go. This is what she's doing. This is me doing that right now. Okay? She's got it flipped around on her own face. She's not on the call with anyone. That's just what she's This is when she was collapsing the polls. She's clearly a complete wreck. Boozing, drunk. Probably because she's drunk. But she fakes a phone call. This is what I find just pathological. Final thing I'll say on this. Pathological. She's acting like she's talking with someone. She's only speaking to the voices inside of her head. Listen.
You did, thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, it's so important that everybody participates. And
could you imagine Kamala Harris? Like, could you imagine like being kind of like listen to this. This is Kamala Harris like in the morning. She's only she's talking to herself here.
thank you.
She's talking to herself. Everyone applauds for her having a fake conversation. She's like staring in the mirror like, you are worth something. You are valuable. You are beautiful. It's so important that we all participate. Thank you. I said, it's psychotic. It's mentally disturbed. Okay. So it's a pattern that we've recognized here. You're getting cooked. If you're on the fake phone call, you're getting cooked. Well, guess who's on the fake phone call this morning? Do we have footage of this? We have no video of this? All right, let's go through it. Let's scroll through the actual article. Letitia James this morning. I'm sure you've heard the news. We're going to get into all of the exciting... Oh, there's some photos. Okay. We're going to get into all of the very exciting news about Letitia James, who's worth tens of millions of dollars. How exactly does that happen? Can somebody explain that, please? How is she worth tens of millions of dollars? She doesn't seem like a smart person. She seems like a very dumb person. She's clearly dumb. Letitia James dodges questions about mortgage fraud scandal outside of New York home, pretends to be on the phone. There she is. Pretending to be on the phone. Please scroll down to the photos of her on the phone. There you go. James is embroiled for falsifying records. She pretended to be on the phone with reporters, peppered her with questions. New York Attorney General Letitia James leaves her home in Fort Greene. That's this morning. She's got like a bunch of bags with her, I guess. And she faked a phone call. ALX, Danny, Jack, Ashley, there has to be footage of this somewhere. There has to be a video of this somewhere. Give me this video. All right. This is let's go read what's actually happening here. And it's so sweet. This story is so sweet, it's gonna give me diabetes. I don't eat a lot of sugar. I'm gonna have to take an insulin injection after this story. Embattled New York Attorney General Letitia James ducked reporters outside of her Brooklyn home on Wednesday, refusing to answer questions about her simmering mortgage fraud scandal. James, who infamously declared no one is above the law when prosecuting President Trump, feigned talking on her cell phone as reporters peppered her with questions about getting slapped with a federal criminal referral for mortgage fraud. According to the letter obtained by the Post, James, who draws an annual salary of $200,000, allegedly falsified records. And that's, like I said this yesterday on the show, and I want to correct myself. I said that like these congressmen who make $200,000 a year, that they're not making that much money. What I mean is they're all worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That math doesn't work. Okay, if you make $200,000, you can afford your mortgage, you can afford to live in a neighborhood, right? You can afford a white picket fence. But that doesn't mean that you can afford private island houses and G5s, which is what they all have. We pulled up on Grok like the net worth of the richest members of Congress. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. Nancy Pelosi, all these rich Democrats. So how is Letitia James worth hundreds of millions of dollars? I'm not sure. What's Letitia James' net worth? Let's go. How is she worth? She's worth tens of millions of dollars. How is that? She got $200,000 salary. Don't make no sense. After taxes, she's got a $110,000 salary. So then what happens? According to a letter obtained by the Post, James, who draws a salary of $200,000, allegedly falsified records to Sweetheart Home loans for a Virginia property she claimed was her principal residence in 2023, while she was still serving as the New York State prosecutor. Well, that's a big no-no. Apparently in these documents, she also married her father. Got some Ilhan Omar action going here. Let's go ahead and read, shall we? You can see here on the script, there's a 12-page document that is filed with all of the exhibits and the documentation. Of course, what this is doing is it's defrauding a bank. It's lying about your assets. It's lying about where you live. She has no right to be the Attorney General of New York when she's living in a different state. That's illegal. Primary residence mortgages receive more favorable loan terms, including lower interest rates than secondary residence mortgages. Lenders view secondary residence mortgages as significantly riskier. The borrower is more likely to continue paying off their primary residence mortgage during any financial hardship. Interest rates on a secondary residence mortgages are typically between 25 and 50 points higher than their primary residence counterparts. However, this gap can now widen depending on the lender. So you see, like, this is why she would lie in federal documents here about where her residence is. And this is delicious up here. Look it up at the very top of the criminal referral. There's Pam Bondi up there, but it's actually Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. That's so unbelievably, I'm talking like Dunkin' Donuts frappe suite here. Attorney General Todd Blanche is the man who had to fight Letitia James in every court in New York. He was the wide-jawed man who was constantly there by President Trump's side, going through all, like, particularly the Alvin Bragg cases for fraud, right? For fraud. That's what they were doing. Like Trump lying about his assets and fraudulent bookkeeping. That's what they got him on in New York. Okay, nothing happened, right? The cases were thrown out, or they were, obviously like tossed, right? Because Trump was the president, and they had nothing, and they had to try and convict him. But Todd Blanche, how beautiful, how incredible is this timeline? Todd Blanche is the guy who sat next to Trump the entire time during all of the garbage prosecutions from Letitia James. There it is. Thank you. That's the photo. Do we have Letitia James' net worth? What is it?
2.7, only because of debt. It's really more like 3.7.
Okay. So she's in debt. Got it, because of these homes. Here's Todd Blanche, by the way. Todd Blanche this is the guy. You remember this photo. This photo goes hard. This could be a rap album. This photo goes hard. Todd Blanche, that's the guy. You saw him constantly on our show. Ooh, this is a big no-no. We actually looked for, and you can see, of course, all the cases that the DOJ prosecutes. They're all public. You can do references and search them. We searched for this style of crime. See, like, does the DOJ prosecute mortgage fraud? You could make a lot of money if you're paying like significantly lower interest rates. If you're lying about who you are and where you are, you could, this is a massive issue. It turns out that they prosecute mortgage fraud all the time. This is like a regular prosecution round. This is a law, and this is a statute that is constantly being prosecuted by the DOJ. Oh, no. In a letter penned by Federal Housing Agency Director William Plute, our dear friend. We had dinner with William Plute at Mar-a-Lago, just like 2 months ago, ALX and I did. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche also claims that James purchased a 5-family dwelling in Brooklyn, and she consistently misrepresented it as only having 4 units, both in building permit applications and mortgage documents. Of course, this means that she pays less taxes, she gets more rent. Plute included several documents in the letter that also showed that James purchased the property in 1983 and 2000, co-signed with her father, but claimed that her dad was her husband. Did they get their marriage license from Ilhan Omar? How the hell does this work out? These people are sick. So here's her Virginia property. This is where James owns this property in Virginia. She claimed this was her private residence. I'm not sure she could fit on that sidewalk, to be perfectly honest with you. But I don't know. That's a question for the physicists, for the smarter people, for AI. It's a question for AI. Ms. James, for both properties listed above, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable terms, he told Bondi and Blanche. Of course, Blanche is this guy who's very motivated because he was tortured by Letitia James. It's like incredible. Like, you're blackpilling? Don't you ever blackpill. This guy now gets to decide Letitia James's fate. Plute said that this could amount to criminal charges, including wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, false statements, and to a financial institution, among others. Oh, you mean exactly what they charged President Trump with? Yo. This is a remarkable timeline. I got to tell you, it is particularly sweet for a couple of reasons. Do we not have these Mike Davis clips in here? Oh, man. Yes, it is. Yes, we do. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I want to start with this because we have a bunch of like follow-up on all of this. I want to begin by just throwing the football, by spiking the football as hard as we possibly can directly into the face of the internet and say, we told you so. We caught a load of hell. ALX, we caught, our show was splattered across every single news site on earth because of a clip from Mike Davis, who had a warning to Letitia James. Mike Davis said that Letitia James, here's like a good example of one. Yeah, there it is. That's like a good example. Okay, well, there's an ad on it. Like Mike Davis said that Letitia James's fat ass was going to go to jail, and that she has entered she was in the F around stage, and now she's in the find out stage. And we're just so proud to have been right about this. I hate to humble brag here, but I'm just so look at that. Trump's potential AG pick threatens to jail Letitia James unless she makes a drastic move. This was from our show, and man, it's just nice to have been right. It's why we're so thankful to you. It's why we send hearts to the chat. We love you. Here we go.
Just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time. And we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike. This isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't rig elections. Don't illegally vote. Don't try the funny business, because we know the team this time and they are not effing around. We were right. We just should have listened to us. Letitia, sister, sweetheart, you should have been tuned into the show. They kept telling you what was going to happen. If you'd been watching the show, if you've been watching the stream, Letitia in the chat. Can we get some F for Letitia in the chat? We've told you. We told you again. Here's Mike Davis one more time, like telling Letitia James what's about to happen. You told us months before it happened that Letitia James's fat ass would be going to prison. And you you caught some hell for that. But lo and behold, like a present, like a late Christmas present that you discovered a month after Christmas, here it drops into our laps. On Friday, the DOJ announces lawsuit against Letitia James, of all people, for harboring migrants and dangerous criminals and terrorizing Americans against federal law. And it's almost, Mike, it's almost like you knew. It's almost like you had a sense about these things. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to do a touchdown dance on this one.
Well, I would say this. I think Pam Bondi made the decision to bring a civil lawsuit because I don't think Pam has the budget right now to feed Tish James in prison. So I think we're going to wait until we get a supplemental from Congress for the prison food budget to feed her fat ass in prison. And I think that's going to be the step 2.
Come on. Can we just make Mike Attorney General just like quickly, just like for a couple of days, please, just for a couple. You can make him the acting Attorney General. No one can stop you. Just for a couple days, please. Anyway, we were right, and we told you we're the best friend Tish James got in the world. We warned her. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very bad super cycle for Letitia James. This was the show that broke the story, Laura Ingram's show, wrapping it up in a nice little bow on top here.
Now the Trump Justice Department may be a pain in her you-know-what. The Angle has obtained shocking allegations leveled by the Trump administration against New York Attorney General Letitia James. The Federal Housing Finance Agency has sent a criminal referral to the DOJ accusing James of mortgage fraud. In a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Director Bill Pulte says James appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. He cited a property in Virginia that she's allegedly claimed as her principal residence and a property in New York that she claimed as a 4-unit structure instead of the required, instead of a 5, which Pulte says means she was able to get a different type and more favorable loan. Joining me.
Well. What do they say? The chickens come home to roost, right? Yeah. So this is a very bad thing for Letitia James. I can see this clearly snowball, especially given the fact that Todd Blanche is going to be there, clearly snowballing into something that could really end her career. Will it end in prison? I don't know. Let's ask Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi has responded to this news. She responded this morning. Let's go.
There's news here in New York that deals with Letitia James. She tried to prosecute the now President Trump in his second term. I just want to read a couple things. Criminal referral, then a response from James's office here in New York. James, for both properties listed above, this deals with real estate now, going back decades, really, appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms, all right? Her office responded by saying the AG James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers. Specialist administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. The issue here is what property she owned and whether or not she owned it, whether or not she was married, and whether or not her father was involved in all this. Without going into the weeds of the details, this stems from a case in 1983 and the year 2000. That's a minimum of 25 years. Someone had to do some digging to find this. Am I right about that?
Yeah. Bill, the most I know about the case I just learned from you. I saw it on breaking news this morning. This case was sent to us from Bill Pulte. We have not seen it. I inquired right before I walked out here. No one in my office has read it yet. We haven't looked at it. Of course, we'll be reviewing it. You just told me more than I've heard about it so far.
Okay. All right. We've got to make sure that they get better briefing on this. Because you should, how this would have been done, how Biden would have done this would have been having the military surround Donald Trump's house, right? And these kind of charges would be worth a full FBI raid, kicking in the door. Letitia James shouldn't even be allowed to wander out with her fake phone call. This should merit F-16s over the property. Yeah, guns drawn. This it shouldn't be like this. It should be handcuffed. That's how the Biden DOJ did it. Like on point. Coordinate. Seeing here Letitia James' statement. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. Okay. Got it. All right. These are this is just up, guys. Maybe we can grab it. The Letitia James commentary on this, particularly rich. Okay. News expert Jonathan Turley, legal expert Jonathan Turley from George Washington University, sounding off on exactly how easy this would be to prosecute. He says, slam dunk. Let's go.
Well, obviously, the irony is perfectly crushing. This is a person who prosecuted Trump for everything short of ripping a label off a mattress. And among the charges that were brought in New York in not just the civil but the criminal case was making false or misleading statements to financial institutions. And one of these sections, Section 1014, of the federal code is prosecuted. It took me about 60 seconds of a search to find cases that the Department of Justice brought against people who falsely claimed that property was their principal residence in order to get loans. So this is well-tread areas for the Justice Department. As for James, if we apply the Letitia James standard that she created, there'd be little question here. This seems pretty straightforward. What the administration is saying is this was not her principal residence. In fact, as a New York elected official, she had to say that her principal residence was in New York. This was an out-of-state residence. But also, they claim that in some of these forms, she actually states that her father is her husband in order to file as a married couple. So there's a lot of those questions. And as you know, the Supreme Court just stated earlier in March in a case called Thompson that they want to see knowing false statements under sections like 1014, not just misleading statements. These are misleading statements. Either it's your principal residence or it's not.
Or it's not.
Either you're married to your father or he's your father. So
the process is the punishment. This is what they put Donald Trump through. Oh, you should have filled out this form, or you should have put it in this spreadsheet. This is what they did to President Trump. And they can get you. And when you, this is the face. This is the face of effed around and found out. This is it. It's a fake phone call. There's got to be footage of this. There's got to be footage. This is also the face of effed around and found out. I mean, you'd think that Letitia James's top crime would be stealing the identity of Grimace from McDonald's. But it's not. It's not her top crime. It is a crime. Identity theft is a crime, and it's a terrible one. And we feel sorry for Grimace, and we'll donate to his GoFundMe. Okay. John Solomon, great investigative reporter, breaking this down for us. Let's go.
Yeah, we have a copy of the actual referral letter. It's about 3 pages. It includes all the attachments and evidence that the FBI and Justice Department would need to look at to make an initial assessment of whether to open a criminal investigation or open a grand jury investigation. It alleges 2 different instances of alleged mortgage fraud. The first is in 2023, a couple years ago, Letitia James bought a home in Norfolk, Virginia, or a property in Norfolk, Virginia. She declared it to be her primary residence, even though she is a full-time attorney general in New York. That, of course, would be suspicious. And you do that often to get a better mortgage rate. That's what the letter says. In another property involving a property in Brooklyn, she misstated the number of units in the property. It had 5. She put down 4. 4 allowed her to qualify for a better interest rate on that house, but again, fraudulently identifying the property as smaller than it was. Both of those instances, according to the letter from the head of this federal independent housing loan agency, were designed apparently to get her better mortgage rates that she didn't deserve and therefore potentially engaged in fraud. It now will go to the FBI in the next few days, most likely, and we'll see if there's a criminal investigation begun.
Come on, man. Come on, FBI. We were with Cash this weekend. He promised us the wheels of justice are turning. They turn slow, but they turn. Okay, we believe you. We trust you. Many of these people we consider friends, and many of these people obviously have been friends of the show. You've seen them live on this program. Some of these people are literally our neighbors, actually, down here. And so, what you will find here is you will find us saying tentatively, like, trust the process. That's what we're going to say. And we're going to be in direct communication with these principals, and we're going to tell you what we learned. Again, we were with Cash this weekend. This goes to the FBI. Prosecute. One person, one powerful person in handcuffs. That's it. That evaporates. All sort of like the pent up, like, come on, let's go. Let's go. When Merrick Garland was walking, there's a tweet, maybe we can find it. Merrick Garland's walking out of the DOJ, and he's getting this applause for him at the DOJ, and Dan Bongino says, this man should be in handcuffs. Let's put one powerful person in handcuffs. Letitia James, just one frog march, please. One mugshot. I know they want to do it. They want to do it right. So I dig that. Okay? I dig it. Ladies and gentlemen, Letitia James is so deserving of this because of what a criminal fraud she actually is. And she's regularly dug her own grave here. No one is above the law. Let's go.
Simple, but fundamental pillar of our democracy. That the rule of law applies to all of us. Equally, fairly, and justly.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law.
Payments to the state of New York, to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They've exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law.
Lady, you broke the law. That's what the feds say. So what say you? Here was Letitia James's tone in the before time, right? We started the show. There's the F around time, and then there's the find out time. We're in the find out time. Let's check in on the F around time. Here we go.
Never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
That man in the White House who can't go a day without threatening our fundamental rights.
Yes, we need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money. We need to find out whether or not he's engaged in conspiracy. It's important.
Wow, these are like the exact same things that Letitia James did when President Trump was elected a second time, and Letitia James was probably well aware that Todd Blanche, the attorney that she tortured in the defense of President Trump in her state with all of her BS lawsuits against Trump, would be the one in charge of her fate. Boy, her tone changed quite severely. It's fun to go back and watch this. Letitia James upon Trump's election victory landslide in 2024.
We did not expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result. We faced this challenge before, and we used the rule of law to fight back. And we are prepared to fight back once again.
How do you, like, it really is amazing how these people talk. Like, you listen to, like, the way that AOC talks, they all have, like, trainings, like, people from Hollywood come in and train them as paid actors and actresses. You can hear sort of the suffering inflection in their voices when they speak. It's so hard to listen to. Right, that's exactly, yeah, it's like a screenplay. Exactly, yeah, it's like a screen. We've watched too much like Rachel Ziegler TikTok, but it's the same thing. You know, you can see it with every actor and actress. They have the same like cadence that's like put upon. It's not the way that people talk. Like if you're at a 7-Eleven, you buy a coffee. Nobody's like you listen to 7 people have conversations. Nobody talks like this. It's only Letitia James like standing there. We will fight back for our moment of truth. It's like nobody talks like that. If somebody talks like that, you're like, you're on drugs? Like, is something wrong with you? Can I call like someone for you? Oh, it's gonna be one person. That's all we ask. One powerful person in handcuffs. That's all we ask. Give us one. Here it is. Dan Bongino, here it is. This guy belongs in handcuffs. Dan Bongino's in charge of the FBI. Let's freaking go. We're not the haters. We're the people that apply. We apply there's good pressure and bad pressure, okay? There's good pressure and bad pressure. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. Yeah, you just won a bowl game. Yeah, more like the bowling alley in Waukesha, Wisconsin, senior center, strike record. That's what this looks like. This looks like he's walking through the bowling alley. Okay, he's in the 70 and above record. Okay, in Waukesha, he gets a free beer at the bar. It has to be a light beer. It has to be a domestic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, I got one more Letitia James. We've been sitting on this. It's like we're sitting on this stockpile of weapons of Letitia James. We're just like hoping for there to be a Letitia James super cycle because we're just so prepped and ready for it. And Letitia James did get booed by the people of New York, including the firefighters of New York. She got horribly booed by that. I think that she won't be missed in New York. And we got a guest coming up that is the person who actually has led to this news cycle. We're very excited to talk to them about this. But let me tell you, the firefighters in New York will be very excited to have her gone. Let's go.
Oh, come on. We're in a house of God. First, simmer down. I want to thank Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for that recognition.
Ah, yes. I'm not sure how Letitia James is going to get out of this one. It sounds like she has incorrectly, illegally, and criminally financed her homes. But ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't have to be your fate. In fact, my friends at American Financing can make sure that your home is your greatest asset, something that can get you up and out of debt. And you can do that today. Ladies and gentlemen, with everything happening in the economy right now, we're on shaky ground, certainly, in every market that you look at. This is just what happens when you exorcise the demons out of the economy. The fake economy goes away and the real economy returns. And what's real is your home, your mortgage. What's also real is that massive inflation rates have crippled this country over the last couple of years. Not good. It affected everybody. My friends at American Financing can help you take control of that debt. They can help you access the equity in your home to pay your debt down. High interest credit card debt can crush you. You can have peace of mind when you're out from under that debt and real savings. On average, people like you are saving $800 a month. Plus, they may close your loan in as little as 10 days. Don't let the chaos of the economy get the best of you. Call American Financing today. Costs absolutely nothing to get started. Call 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Be certain in uncertain times. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm certain I'm going to enjoy this next conversation with our next guest, who is a man directly responsible for this exciting moment where Letitia James is in the finding out stage of the effing around. His name is Sam Antar, and he is a white-collar fraud investigator. He himself was a convicted felon, and now he's decided to turn his life around and expose the criminals who are in charge of these corrupt systems. And he joins our show live now. Sam, I'm a massive fan of your work at White Collar Fraud, and it turns out that you have had a real-world effect here with Letitia James. Why don't you explain what you found in your investigation?
Well, before we start, let me just say this. I didn't decide to turn my life around. The FBI decided to turn my life around. And their gallant, heroic efforts led me to where I am today.
Well, there we go. All right. A changed man. So what did you find on Letitia James in your investigation, Sam?
Okay. I started investigating New York City politicians, various things, waste, fraud, abuse. And I looked at Letitia James, initially her campaign expenditures, saw that she was luxury spending. And as a former criminal myself, where there's smoke, there's fire. Crime is hardly ever confined to one area. So I went into and I started looking at her financial disclosures to New York State. Initially, I found that she had a Virginia home, 3121 Peroni Avenue in Virginia, that she purchased as an investment property. It was disclosed on the financial disclosures, but there was the mortgage that she took when she bought the property was not disclosed to New York State. Then 3 years later, she discloses 2 additional mortgages on that property. But when I ran the title report, and believe me, I ran the title report, I called up the county clerks, the whole 9 yards. There's no record of those 2 mortgages. So she has 1 undisclosed mortgage, and she has 2 mortgages that she did disclose, but they're nowhere to be found. I'll call them phantom mortgages. Altogether, those mortgages total up to $510,000, give or take. Now, on her own financial disclosure, she values the property at $150,000. Now, who gives a commercial loan or an investment property loan? There's not a primary residence, and even that at 2.7 times the valuation of the property. That was point number 1. Point number 2 is she had another property, which is on the referral to the DOJ. She has another property that she bought 604 Sterling Street in Norfolk, Virginia, with a relative. I don't know if it's a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, whatever. Now, on that property, she bought it. She never disclosed it. And just let me read it for you. She filed what's known as a power of attorney. In other words, she had her relative buy the property with her, but sign all the documents for her. And in giving her relative the power of attorney, she writes, I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence. In other words, she made a representation to the mortgage company, which is filed in papers at the county clerk's office, notarized. So this is not like alleged, this is actual. She signed papers saying that she intended to make Virginia, that property in Virginia, her primary residence. Okay, fine. But guess what? That was about a few weeks before the Trump trial. Where the F is she going? She's not going anywhere. So that would be what I would call fraud in the inducement. Now, let's fast forward it a little bit. So the mortgage itself says that this has to be used as a primary residence by both by the borrowers, which is her and her cousin. Not one or the other, not one without the other, both. Okay, and they have to occupy it within 60 days. They never did. Well, she never did. The cousin may or may not have occupied it, but here's the relative may not have occupied it, but here's the other problem. You know, Virginia has what's known as a homestead exemption, whereby you can protect your home from creditors. And in order to do that, it has to be your primary residence. It's a little form you fill out. It gets filed with the county clerk. There's no homestead exemption. So neither she nor her co-buyer or co-borrower filed a homestead exemption. So that adds to the fuel to the fire.
So it was the cousin. It was not her father. Can you please unpack that?
This is somebody. This is Shamice Thompson. She's a relative.
Okay.
But it's not her father. Now there's other stuff too with the Brooklyn property. Okay.
Is that that's with her father? It was like her father's.
Yeah, that was uncovered. To give credit where credit is due, that was uncovered by Joel Gilbert.
Okay.
He went back and he found the transaction whereby she purchased the property, father and daughter, and she did the mortgage, husband. Never mind.
Weird. Okay, yeah, as we said, maybe Ilhan Omar officiated. You know, it's all a big happy family.
Right. Now, here's the thing. She buys a different property in Brooklyn in 2001 or 2000, I'm not sure the exact year. And while she's in contract but hasn't closed yet, the buildings department issues what's known as a certificate of occupancy that says that the building is legalized for 5 units. Now, if you know anything about New York, the certificate of occupancy is like God. You can't F with it, okay? In other words, if you're going to use it, if you're going to say it's 4 units, you have to file for an alteration and change the certificate of occupancy. If you say it's 6 units, you have to change the certificate of occupancy. The certificate of occupancy, and I can't emphasize it enough, rules. Now, when she buys the property, She says it's a 1 or 2 family house in the mortgage. Later on, the mortgage title company writes 4 families. Then another investigator, Joel Gilbert, again, we give credit where credit is due, found out that she applied for a hemp loan, which is for mortgage relief. And that program allows people with properties from 1 to 4 families to apply for mortgage relief. But the property, but it's really a 5 occupancy property, the certificate of occupancy. What I did was, when I saw Joel Gilbert's work, I looked at all of the documents, needle in the haystack, and I found handwritten notes that were written the day that they filed the mortgage, saying this property can be 4 to 6 units. It's 4 units now, something like that. In other words, they're trying to retroactively fix it so that it can get through the underwriters of the loan. Now, the big question is, there's a lot of questions. Number one is, how is the buildings department, which there was complaints to the buildings department about a property being 5 units instead of 4, and they said it was a minor error. That's unbelievable, because the buildings department, if you know in New York, the buildings department is like the mafia. If they see money, they take it, right? They could have fined her, they could have made her do all these things, they didn't. The other part of it is that these mortgages, where she represented, it was 4 units and it should have been 5 units. All of these properties, the property in Brooklyn, okay, she represented it as 1 to 4 units in various mortgage from 2001 to 2020. There's different underwriting standards for mortgages with 1 to 4 units versus underwriting standards for 4 or more units. So she misrepresented that and obtained favorable terms on her loans. So there's a lot of issues here. There's number one is the Virginia residences, the phantom mortgages, the intention to occupy another residence as a primary residence. There's the Brooklyn property, whereby she represents it's 1 to 4 units in all of her mortgage documents, but it's really 5 units. There's the Department of Buildings that gave her a pass, which is inexplicable. And there's another issue that wasn't covered in the Justice Department's referral letter. I found that in the year 2021 to 2022, she made 6 or 7 trips with a private jet carrier called Venture Jets. Now, New York State has this big checkbook thing that you can go back to 2014, look up any vendor, any transaction when New York State reimbursed money. It's from the Officer of the Controller's Office. Now, what happens is she was the only one in the history of New York City as far back that used Venture Jets. And a few of the trips overlapped. With campaign events that she was at. Now, after New York State stopped paying for her Venture Jets, her campaign started paying for Venture Jets. So that's another thing that I'm sure the FBI will be investigating.
So she was using public funds to campaign, which is illegal.
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
Listen, the other stuff, the mortgage stuff is a slam dunk. The documents exist. The other stuff is, we will see. I have filed for a FOIL request, but there's too many coincidences that makes it, let's put it this way, it smells like fire.
Yeah, this is exactly right. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, so she's facing criminal conspiracy, wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, false statements to financial institutions. I get chills reading this, Sam, because this is exactly what she tried to bring against Trump. It's almost like she knew. It's like accuse your enemy of that which you were guilty of, right?
Yes, it is. And that, you're commenting on the way she talks, and I'm thinking, what a sanctimonious POS, the way that she talked with this, with this.
Those clips are unbelievable. Yeah, knowing that this was all happening in the background, Sam, it's unbelievable.
And she's pulling people bullies. I'm not a bully. I am a whistleblower. People should listen. I did my crimes, and I was very good at doing crime. Okay, and the only reason why I stopped is because of the heroic efforts of the FBI, and I commend them for doing it, because I would still be a criminal today. I'm going to just say that right out loud, so there's no dispute. People say, "Well, he's a criminal." Okay, my work speaks for itself. Everything that I put in my blog, I've documented with the source documents. Anybody can check it out if they click through the links. And there was a New Jersey record, NewJersey.com did a hit piece on me. Sam Antar is in collusion with Trump. Not true. I never spoke to Trump, never communicated with him. Maybe I said something about him on Twitter, whatever. Okay. But I never communicated with him. Okay. They said that he was recently jailed in 2013 and 2022 for swindling investors. Guess what? They got the wrong Sam Antar. They got the son of one of the co-conspirators I testified against. That's how dumb these people are and stupid these people are.
So, Sam, I'm not an attorney, nor am I an expert in criminal law. We can just simply speak to experts and people who've been through the process and know the process, like yourself.
I'm a jailhouse lawyer. I'm an expert on criminal law.
Please. So please lay out.
Actually, a house arrest lawyer.
Lay out the case. Lay out the case against Letitia. Like you say, it's a slam dunk. What is Letitia James facing in criminal penalties here?
Okay, the easiest thing to prove is mail and wire fraud, using the instrumentalities of interstate commerce to send a false statement over the mail or through the internet, etc. It is a 5-year felony. Okay, so if the Virginia properties would probably be covered under mail fraud and all of our other mortgages, because everything today is digitized. Everybody makes phone calls, etc. They mail out documents, etc., etc., etc. Also, all of those loans that she had taken were underwritten by the Federal Housing Administration, which explains why that they made the criminal referral to the Department of Justice. Okay. She violated their guidelines. Now, I don't know if she was in. What gets me is, here's the thing that gets me. The title companies didn't flag this, and if they flagged this, they let it go. I don't get it. That's another thing that gets me. Why did nobody catch it? Okay, so she will. My feeling is she will probably be charged with mortgage fraud too, mail fraud, wire fraud, mortgage fraud. I can't quote you the statutes, but I know that exists.
So you're saying that this is a slam dunk, and anybody who seeks to prosecute this will get a conviction. We know that's very important with the DOJ prosecutor. Final question for you, Sam, and we hope that you come back on all the time and talk about this.
You can have me on all the time.
We love this. Just final question for you. What are the penalties here? What is she facing?
Well,
could she actually go? Tell us directly. Could she go to prison for this?
I'll give it to you with background. When I was the criminal and the feds were coming after me, and they said, you're going to charge you with 40 counts. And I go to my lawyer, and his lawyer says, oh, they can only hang you once. All they need is 1 out of the 40. So even if I win 39 out of 40, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
So the point is that let the legal process go. Let the legal process do what the legal process has to do. The FBI today under Kash Patel is like the FBI that came after me. And I commend Kash Patel for the job that he's doing. For many years, the FBI was, it fell off its focus. Let's say that. But I have a deep respect for law enforcement, and I have a deep respect for Kash Patel. His father's also a wonderful guy also.
Well, I got to tell you, it was same, right? Kash was a regular guest on this program. He's on virtually every single week. We consider him a personal friend. We were with him this weekend, and so we have a lot of faith. And also, just as a cherry on top, Todd Blanche. This photo of Todd Blanche, I just can't get over this. It goes really hard, but this is in one of Letitia James's courtrooms, and now it's up to Todd Blanche. Now this ball is in his court because this is the man who is referred to at the DOJ.
Well, let's put it this way. If they don't pursue criminal charges against her, it will be a humiliating embarrassment for him because the case has been laid out. I'm not one of these guys speculating here, speculating there. If you saw when I spoke to you, I told you what's slam dunk and what's and what's circumstantial. Okay. The receipts exist, the documents exist, they're notarized documents with her signature on them. So she's got a problem. And to call me a bully, she can go F herself. Okay, I'm not a bully. I'm a whistleblower. I turned my life around, and for 30 years, I've worked with the feds in teaching them about white-collar crime and how white-collar crime is done. Okay, and to weaponize my past against me, they can go fly a kite, because that ain't going to happen.
We got to use that more on the show, Klein. They can go fly a kite. I love it. I don't say it as good as you. I'm going to practice this in the beer. Thank you, Sam. This is fantastic. I have a feeling this ain't going away anytime soon. You're exactly right. It would be humiliating.
I love being on your show. Invite me on anytime. If anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, at Sam Antar.
It's up on the screen right now.
Yes.
40,000.
Maybe one day I'll be as famous as you.
40,000. We're fans of you, Sam, and you're clearly the expert here. And we thank you for your insights on all this, your investigation.
I thank you for allowing me to speak. I really do, and I appreciate it. And God bless you. And your producers are wonderful people.
Everybody go follow.
They made things very easy.
Everybody go follow Sam of whitecollarfraud.com. See you soon, Sam. Thank you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely stacked show. Why not? We just talked with the criminal. Why not talk with the cop? Ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, Brandon Tatum, former Tucson police officer and now the champion of the internet, also the owner of the Officer Tatum store, a man who has gone viral too many times to count, Brandon Tatum, live now. Brandon, what's up, man? I love this booking. We got the criminal and then the cop back to back. It's perfect.
Perfect. Hey, Benny, how you doing, man?
I saw you at the UFC. It was great to see you there with your dad. Looked like you were having a great time, and it was an amazing moment for the administration. A real tough fighter look for the president and his team.
Yeah, it was great, man. I mean, to see Donald Trump come in and build and all of his cabinet, well, not all of his cabinet, but majority of people in his cabinet and people that work for him, and see the crowd light up like a Christmas tree, man, was incredible. And you know what's funny is that it was incredible for my dad to see it. I wanted him to see Donald Trump in the flesh. I wanted him to see the way Donald Trump treats people. And my dad had an opportunity to meet Trump, which I think changed his perception of Trump. You know, I think my dad kind of was falling for the okie doke, listening to the media about Trump and his behaviors and stuff. But when my dad saw him in person, like everybody else, they really see something different, and they realize that he's a human just like anybody else, and he's not Hitler and all this other stuff. And not saying that my dad believed the Hitler part, but, you know, Trump definitely has his way about, you know, his presence, and the way he's perceived in person is very, very different. So it was a wonderful, wonderful event, great fights, great patriotism. I love it. UFC is always my favorite.
It's a massive mirage, man. You're now starting to see it all come collapsing down. Letitia James is the news of the day. This one's particularly so sweet, it'll give you diabetes if you really look into it, because Letitia James is now being accused by the feds with an enormous amount of evidence. We just went through all of it for the last hour. The same crimes that she went after Donald Trump for is now laid out before the American people in black and white. That is some sweet Jesus justice right there, man.
1,000%, man. It's funny because these people are so evil and deranged. And I feel like we had been gaslighting for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years. And they try to act as if Donald Trump and the Republicans, and they're all bad and evil, and they're doing crooked stuff, and the Trump family enterprise is doing this. And the whole time we already knew they were crooked. We were just waiting for the opportunity for them to actually get exposed. Letitia James is not the only one. I'm glad that they're pursuing her. I'm glad that she's getting exposed. I wonder what AOC is doing. We already know Patrice Cullors from the Black Lives Matter was doing the same thing. These people are evil. These people are desperately wicked and wanting power to use that power to influence their own pocketbooks. So I'm glad that we have a government that's going to go after these people legitimately, not with lies and deception, but actually go after facts.
Yeah, Black Lives Mansions is my favorite, man. I got the T-shirt. It's like what is it's the same thing with Letitia. They caught her lacking this morning with the mansions. This is what gets them, I guess. If you are woke and if you rise to prominence, it'll be your mansions that end up getting you. Bernie has the same problem. Too many mansions. Tough look for a socialist. So what do you think is going to happen to Letitia? You have a background in law enforcement. Clearly she was booed by the firefighters and the NYPD. That was a hilarious clip. We played it earlier. Doesn't seem to be very popular in New York.
No, I mean, why wouldn't she? Why would she be? You know, the average person is not thinking that she's worth a hill of beans. It's only people in her political party that lift her up and act as if she have credence. I mean, she's one of the dumbest people in the world, and I think she should be prosecuted for falsely going after Donald Trump. But not only did she do that, I mean, she got her own baggage. But I will say this, knowing being in law enforcement and knowing how this works, it may not always work out in our favor. You know, you have to go through a whole judicial process. You may have a person that may want to go light on her. You know, we never really know how it's going to turn out. But what I will say is that I'm glad that we're pursuing something so the world can see these wicked Democrats for who they are. And I hope that they go to jail if it was up to me. I hope that she get prosecuted. I hope she get exposed, and I hope she go to prison, because she has done so much damage to this country. She's done so much damage unjustifiably to Donald Trump's image, and potentially could have ruined this country's opportunity to have a president that actually cares about us. These people are crooked. I cannot wait for all of them to go down. I would wonder, all of these Democrat politicians that went after him. We already see Fani Willis with her dirty self. She got caught in the airport with Wade. She and with Wade, she swear they didn't have a relationship. They still together now. You know, these people are crooked, man. I'm glad that Donald Trump is bringing the hammer down, though.
Yeah, this is you have millions of followers. You probably get the same. You probably get the same commentary that I get, which is, where are the arrests? And I feel that, right, honestly, because it's been a tough 4 years. It's been 4 years where we've seen our friends go to prison. We've seen them go to jail for literally just peacefully protesting. We've seen the attacks on us. They tried to kill our boy Trump, and they put a bullet through his head, really, is what they did. And so they did everything they possibly could to torture, humiliate, and end our careers. And I feel like that the best way to beat a bully is to bloody the nose and punch back. And so I'd say put, one high profile person in handcuffs is going to do a lot. It's going to send a massive message. I hope it's Letitia James. I agree with you.
1,000%. And we can't care about the perception of it, right? Because I think last time Donald Trump was kind of worried about saying, okay, I don't want to put my political enemies in prison, even though they're committing crimes, because it's not a good look for us to be going against, other politicians. Forget that. F that. I want to say a cuss word, but I'm trying to be a good Christian. Forget that. Put these people in jail where they belong. I wish that they can go back and get Hillary. She was the most egregious case of sending and receiving classified information and lie to the American people, gaslight us. And then she did that fake investigation into Donald Trump. She should have never done that. It was all fabricated. She need to go to prison. Letitia James need to go to prison. Fani Willis need to go to prison. I mean, we go down the list. I guarantee you, I can almost put my money on it, that Joe Biden has a whole bunch of other stuff that they had done. He needs to go to jail. His son Hunter needs to go to jail. His brother needs to go to jail. We can go down the list, man. I bet AOC doing dirty stuff. I bet your boy Bernie Sanders is doing dirty stuff. They're taking dirty deals. Yeah. These people are doing insider trading. Forget them. They all need to go down. And we're going to cheer it on this time. It's not going to be, well, we don't want to make her look like this. We don't want Trump to look like a dictator. I don't care what he looked like. Put these people in jail if they've been committing crimes.
See, this is, I think, the stark difference, which is that when a Republican commits actual crimes, I'm perfectly happy for them to go to prison, right? It is what it is. Democrats put innocent people in jail. We just want the criminals in jail. So it is irrelevant, but we know that many of these Democrat politicians are criminal in their behavior. We've seen it on display with Fani Willis and Letitia James. These are great examples, and they are the law enforcement, which makes it particularly repulsive. A lot of people in this country are repulsed by Carmelo Anthony and this case, and you as a former cop, it's got to actually really speak to you. I want to just get your perspective on this. The update here is that Carmelo Anthony has been released from prison after a judge lowered his bond in the extreme, and that his family has spent all of the GoFundMe money on mansions and a new Escalade and a new suit and so on in a private gated community. It's not good for the country. I don't think it's a great look. This guy committed murder in cold blood, an unarmed teen. But I want to get your take on this. Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm incredibly disappointed at how this is panning out, but I'm not shocked because there is the underlying racial tension in this country that rises up every time we have a racial dynamic like this in a case where someone gets killed or brutalized. And the crazy thing is, and people don't like to hear me say this, but it's true, it mostly comes from Black people. You would never in your life see a white kid stab a black kid in the chest and kill him at a track meet after he brought a knife there in a tent that he didn't belong in. And you see white folks raising money for the criminal. You will never see that in your life. The reason why they're raising money for him is because he killed a white kid. And there are black people that are crazy enough to say, I'm going to support him because he's black, whether he's right or wrong, because he did it to a white kid. I put my life on it right now. If Carmelo Anthony would have killed another black kid in a similar fashion, we would not hear about it. There would be no story. No one would raise a dime for him. I would add too, if Carmelo Anthony would have killed another black kid, the black kid who got killed, nobody would raise a dime for him. But let me just say this real quick, because I think that it's a case based on the information that we have that Carmelo Anthony should take a plea deal. There is no way whatsoever he's going to have any justification in using the defense argument. And he did not have the right to use that amount of force, which was deadly force. Let me explain real quick. First of all, you cannot be an instigator in an incident and claim defense or claim self-defense. So when him going to the tent, he had a concealed weapon in his bag. He instigated it by saying, touch me and see what happens. And this is where they got him with premeditation, because he's concealing the knife in the bag. He knew he was going to use the bag. Unbeknownst to use the knife, unbeknownst to them, he encouraged them to touch me and see what happens. So he made a determination in his mind that if I'm touched, I'm going to use deadly force to kill somebody. This is why they got him with first degree murder premeditation. But when he suggests touch me and see what happens, and then I guess they touched him according to the police report, which is they didn't assault him, they didn't hit him, they didn't punch him, they didn't use deadly force against him. There was no threat of deadly force. Then he says, punch me and see what happens. He's instigating a physical response that hadn't been introduced in the first place. And then when you use deadly force, it has to be proportionality or proportional. So if you have to have a threat or feel like there's a threat of serious bodily injury or death in order for you to use deadly force. A kid pushing you is not deadly force. They never struck him. There was no punches. There was no active fighting going on, according to the information that we have. So there's no need or no justification whatsoever to use deadly force against somebody in that scenario. So I don't see any path for him to use the self-defense claim. I see no path of him being justified in using that deadly force. And I can see them maybe reducing premeditated murder, but he has to do a plea deal or he's going to spend the majority of the rest of his life in prison.
Have you seen cases like this as a police officer?
Yeah, I've seen it plenty of times. But most of the times that I've been engaged in these situations, it has been a justifiable self-defense claim. And then there's, like in Texas, you have a stand your ground law that you don't have to retreat. But you don't have to retreat when it comes to a deadly force situation. If somebody's pushing you, you can't. Because think about this. A knife and a gun are both considered to be deadly weapons. There's no different determination of these weapons in the law book. So if he had a gun in the bag and you play the scenario out, a guy pushes you and you shoot him in the chest and kill him, that's grossly negligent and unjustifiable. So it's the same with the knife. And the ones that I've seen, the ones that I've been involved in, most of them were justified uses of force where you have the stand your ground law and the person is defending themselves from a fear of serious bodily injury or death.
Brandon, you bring up such an important distinction here that I think is what it really boils down to, which is that if a white teen had killed a black teen, then anybody who donated to his GoFundMe would be fired from their job, would be publicly humiliated, would be shamed. Of course, there wouldn't really be a GoFundMe that was set up. Everybody would just say, oh, that's evil. You can't just kill someone. You can't just murder someone in cold blood who's unarmed. We're against that. And so let's all move on, and the process will play out, and justice will be served, hopefully. What you have here is the inverse of that. And if you go check, man, you want to talk about a black pill, you go check the comments on the fundraiser. It's just hatred against white people. And it's just all, I mean, it's just like rewarding the guy for killing a white person. It's a really bad place to be in the country. Like, that's like the precursor to race wars and new civil wars and like the actual fraying of society.
But
it's bad, man. It's bad.
Benny, this has been going on forever. It's just that what happens when you see racial conflict, the ugly head is reared up. Black people been feeling like this forever. And I grew up in an all-black neighborhood. We hated white people. I'm being honest. Like, we felt like when I was growing up, thank God I got saved, and thank God I moved to a different environment, and then it opened my understanding up to wait a minute, this is not the way that we should be behaving. But if a black kid is wrong, we feel like it's justified because of slavery and Jim Crow and all that other stuff. And I'm not saying every black person is like this, but there's a lot of black people, as you can see. Now, I'll tell anybody to do the math and do the research on this. You will never see a white criminal who've committed a crime against a police officer or anybody else get a GoFundMe. We even see George Floyd. Look at all these other people that were justifiably killed by the police. Not George Floyd, but I'm saying some of these other individuals. They still got millions of dollars in GoFundMe raised. They still got all kinds of money being raised. It's because black people, for some reason, have this racial hatred towards white people that's ingrained in them, that's almost in their bloodline. And it only takes an incident to happen like this for it to come out of them. Because you look at the comments, look what they're saying. But the people that are on the side of Metcalf, they're not, it's not a racial thing. It's that the boy was killed. He died in his brother's arms. He was at a track meet under his own tent, standing up for what was right. And he got murdered in cold blood. He was an A student. He had a chance to go to college. He was on the football team. That is why normal people are supporting him. But you will see this every time, Benny. I don't know what is going to have this change. I don't know if it's ever going to change in our society, but you're going to always see this underbelly of racism from the black community that comes up every single time these things happen. Right or wrong, the black kid was wrong. I see a lot of black people saying that he was wrong, but the majority of black people want to believe he was right. They want to believe the white kid was a bully. They want to believe these things, and it's not true. And it's sad that this is a reality, but I'm here to be the Negro whisperer. I'm telling you, black people have this vitriolic behavior against whites, and it's going to come out every time this happens. I promise.
I don't know how you solve this problem. I mean, here we have like a thread of every single comment that's left. I mean, you can go read it for yourself. It's everyone saying, hey, you know, we want you to kill white people. And how exactly do you solve that? And especially in this environment, we often put up this Gallup poll that is really stunning that shows that it is Barack Obama who led to the abject collapse in race relations in this country, which I find particularly fascinating and ironic, and it's gallows humor. But it is Obama's presidency that took race relations from like the high 70s and 80s, where everyone was like, it's fine, it's fine, we just get along, to like, no, it sucks between white and black people in this country. And how do you do this? Well, if you go back to the time right there, right at that moment when you saw a collapse, this was Barack Obama saying Trayvon Martin's my son, and then saying that an officer in Ferguson, Missouri, killed someone just because they were black. And then Michael Brown did nothing, and he was like, he was like an honor student. He's like the best, and of course that was untrue. And that actual super cycle leads to the collapse, like right here, and now we're witnessing like the horrible results of that, right?
Yeah, and it's something that I pray that black people, generically speaking or generally speaking, isn't cursed. And the reason I say that is because Barack Obama, who's half black, he's not fully black. Right. For some reason in our country, if you got to be deferred to black. But Barack Obama, even in his intelligence, his acumen in academics, his wife being educated, even an educated black man who was voted for twice has to rear the ugly head of racism and discrimination against white people. That man had no business saying Trayvon Martin was his son. He had no business going to Michael Brown's funeral when it was clear evidence that man didn't just execute him, because cops don't just execute people in the middle of the black neighborhood in the street. And so with him, he couldn't even fight the urge to come out and be divisive and push this narrative that America has been a racist country from the beginning. Benny, you and I both know this because we're intelligent individuals. That, listen, who do you think helped Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad? White people. Who do you think abolished slavery? It wasn't black people. It was white people. Who do you think never owned slaves? It was people in the North. Who do you think won the Civil War? The North. Every single good thing that have happened for black people from the time they got to America was done by good white people. And it's ironic that we forget those people exist. Even to this day, good white people voted for the first black president. It wasn't black people. They don't have enough power to vote. So it makes me upset that this black man had an opportunity to say it's over, it's finished, it's done. We are one. We are united. But he couldn't end his compulsion. And that's why we are where we're at now.
He has a white mom, he has a black dad, and he said there's no white America or black America, there's just the United States of America. That's what he run on. And everybody was down with that.
Yes.
Yo, I didn't want to support John McCain. Can I just be like, can I be honest with you, Brandon? I didn't want to support John McCain, okay? Like, I ended up voting for him, but like, you hear that message. There's no red or blue America. There's just the United States of America. You hear that message, you're like, man, that's sugar on top, right? Like, that sounds good. I like that. Maybe this is the guy that is going to take the Gallup numbers from the 70s and 80s to like 100%, where there's no problems. And that's kind of where you want to live, a high trust society where there's no like major tribal, murder problem, right? That you have in third world countries. That's what we all wanted to live in. And he delivered the exact opposite of that.
But he could have done better.
Yeah.
He could have done better. All he had to do was be fair. All he had to do was call it for what it is. When a young black man is doing something he's not supposed to, Barack Obama could have changed the black community forever by not only being an example, but by holding young people accountable. Barack Obama came from Chicago, which is where most of the young men grow up to die in inner city violence. Barack Obama could have went there, could have deployed the National Guard, could have said enough is enough. Young black men need to stop killing each other. We're not going to make it if we don't survive our youth. We need to get these young people to stop going to Planned Parenthood and start having children. We need young people to start getting married to their wives and the women they're having children with so they can raise the next generation of people who prosper in America. He could have said it. He could have done it. He could have advocated, but he didn't. And now look at where we're going as a nation, and look at where we're going as a black community. It's getting worse and worse and worse. The smartest, the most intelligent, the richest, the wealthiest, the most prosperous black people in America are still silly. You got LeBron James to say that this country is so bad to him. And the dude is almost a billionaire. You can go to Jay-Z, you can go to Beyonce, you can go to Obama, you can go to Michelle Obama, you can go down the list. Every black politician on the Democrat side are nutty. And why? Letitia James, she could have been a great person who rose to a prominent position and prosecuted fairly. But instead, she's a nut job. And then you could have had Fonnie Willis. Fonnie Willis could have been an example in the black community. What's the other dummy that's in Congress right now that's the most ghetto woman I've ever seen? Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett has a law degree. She has a law firm. Jasmine Crockett could be an example for young black women to rise to the occasion and be an example. But instead, she ghetto and stupid. And we can go down the list, Benny. These so many people who have so many opportunities to change the narrative, not only to better America, but to change the perception of who black people really are. And then what do? Clarence Thomas, Byron Donalds, Thomas Sowell. The black community rejects them vehemently. These are sellout Uncle Tom coons. But instead, we should be celebrating them because these are men who have accomplished things that have never been accomplished before. Benjamin Carson. We can go down the list, Benny. I don't know what we're going to do from here. I pray to God that one day black leaders start rising up and saying, okay, we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to hold our community accountable. When a young man stabs another young man in the heart, we need to be honest about this. Why is he bringing a knife? I lived in Frisco. We lived in Plano. Plano and Frisco are right next to each other. Why would somebody bring a knife in Frisco? That's like the wealthiest, nice suburb of Dallas, Texas. So that's the bigger issue, not just the stabbing.
Man, that's some real truth. You reverse it and you say, if Donald Trump had come out and said, Austin Metcalf could be my son, right? It was like, you'd say, huh? Like, it's all right, but like, is that really where we should go with this? And Obama, the kind of like, it's almost like begging for division. It's like it's demanding a violent result is what you do when you say something like that. It's incendiary, right? And you're going to push violent division. That's what this guy did. I mean, it's really evil. It's a total fraudulence. I'm glad you brought up Jasmine Crockett. Man, she's Very entertaining. She recently said that black people shouldn't be farmers. Because of slavery, I guess. Do we have the clip line? Okay, can we just play like 10 seconds of it?
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Okay. It was very smart. They're not sending their best, in the words of President Trump.
Oh no,
she's a star. They're saying she should run for president, Brandon.
I know this is where, like, and I'm being honest, this is where, like, white people that don't get exposed to a lot of black people, why they think black people are nutty. Like, she's an example of a black woman, and if you've never seen a black woman before, you never engaged with a black woman, and you see one for the first time that's in Congress and she have a law degree, and you're like, this is how black people act. It's such an embarrassment. She's the dumbest woman on planet Earth for saying that black people don't want to farm. Maybe you should farm. You know what? Black people came from farming. My entire, all the way back to my great grandfather was a farmer. He owned his own land. They had like 15 kids. You want to farm. You want to be controlling your own production of food and resources. What stupid person will say, we don't want to farm no more. We gonna let the Mexicans be slaves. That's what she said. They let them do it. We ain't picking cotton no more. Picking cotton. Back when slavery was around, there were black people who were free. There were black people who had plantations. There were black people who owned land and could vote. And those black people didn't have no problem picking cotton and making money on their own terms. Now, some of them obviously were slaves, but there were black people that owned slaves too. So producing and making money with your own hands isn't a slap in the face to black people. And this is why black people in this country are going to be extinct. And when I say extinct, I'm saying extinct from power, because Hispanic people are willing to come over here and can't even speak English. Foreigners will come here, can't speak English. Other Hispanics who can't speak English in this country don't mind working hard. And they're going to do all the jobs that black people used to do that didn't have a high level of education. So they're going to push out all the black people. They're going to either be poor or they're going to be in the middle class. And they're having more children than black people are. They're marrying each other more than black people do. And I'm telling you right now, Benny, I'm making a prediction. We've seen that black women voted for Democrats at 98% and still lost in a landslide victory to Donald Trump. You give it 5 more years or 10 more years, with the abortion rate being the way it is in the black community, with the murder rate being the way it is in the black community, with the obesity rate being what it is in the black community, all of the ailments in the black community, with dummies like Jasmine Crockett not acknowledging them, black people are not going to be relevant whatsoever politically. The next majority minority are going to be Hispanic. And when the votes come out, we saw the Democrats do this, Benny. They were speaking in Spanish when they were running for office, wasn't they? They were speaking in Spanish, trying to get the Hispanic vote. What's going to happen is that Hispanics going to have such a high population that black people are going to vote 100% for Democrats and still lose every electoral vote in the popular vote. And they're going to wonder what happened to us. Electing idiots like Jasmine Crockett and believing that the white man is your enemy is going to be the downfall of black influence in America. 100%.
It's speaking truths like these that make Brandon Tatum so unbelievably popular on campus. We even have video to prove it here, where Brandon Tatum was trying to give a speech or talk to some of the students and got violently attacked. They stole his tent, they stole the table, and the police just stood by. Brandon Tatum, you can see here in the red hat, that's correct, in the red hat, is the only person that tried to confront the Antifa members at UC Berkeley here. Brandon, I wanted to get to this. Tell me about this situation. You had to be held back by the cops. Just a leading off here. Isn't it the cops' role to say you're not allowed to destroy someone else's property?
Well, Benny, this was even crazier than it looks, because I wasn't even trying to combat them. I was just trying to defend our property and defend the kids who they had beat up before I got there. They had come to this campus the way you see them leave. They hit people. They threw stuff on people. They destroyed the whole tent before I got there. I was literally on the phone with one of the TPUSA people when they were destroying it all. I'm like, what's happening over there? And then I get there, they're leaving. The cops are there. I say, hey, what are you guys going to do? Like, are you going to defend us if they come back? They go, well, they pretty much said, well, we can't do anything. I said, let me tell you something. I'm going to defend these kids that are sitting at this tent, and I'm going to defend them with force if I have to. I just want you to know that. I'm not going to let them get beat up over the head because you guys are cowards. And then what happens is, and you see me in this video, they're coming back. I look at the chief or whoever the guy was here. I said, are you going to do anything? They're going to come here and assault people. And they just stood by and did absolutely nothing. And it was a shame because, to be honest, I could have finished it all myself. I could have went and I could have detained every single one of these cowards, these little soy non-binaries. I could have done it all myself, Benny, but I didn't want Turning Point to look bad, and I didn't want me on a highlight tape giving people naps. So I tried to let the cops do their job, but they don't want to do anything. And as a reasonable man, and I was in law enforcement, so I know how far to go, I had to just make sure they didn't hurt nobody that was around me. And then we had to let them just tear our stuff up and walk away. And the cops didn't even go after them to identify them. They didn't. Listen, Benny, they went off campus. They went to around the corner over there. And then they came back from around the corner. The police station is right where they went and left and came from. Why did they just stand there? Benny, they had to go somewhere. They literally left. They left after they did all this twice. They left and didn't come back. Where did they go? Did they just walk down the street? Why couldn't the cops just walk with them and see where they at least went? Benny, they did nothing. They didn't follow up. They didn't chase them. They didn't do nothing. And what you didn't see on that view is that right in front of the cop I'm standing with, they punched the lady in the face. This lady right here in the red. They punched her in the back of the head. And I'm with the cop. I said, they just hit this woman in the head. And what is he doing? He's doing what you see him doing on the camera. He's standing there. And I'm standing there to make sure they don't assault this woman behind me and do all this other stuff because they got full mask on, gear. They come for violence, man. And for them cops to do nothing, and I'm not blaming the individual cops because they are told to not act. I'm blaming the administration and I'm blaming the police chief because they should have a stronger stance. Now, Benny, let me explain this for the audience because people may not understand this. There's a reason why they don't engage, but it's not the right choice. The reason they don't engage is because they don't want to get to a deadly force situation on campus, which means you have 15 of these little soy boys trying to fight. Now, what if you had 400 of them and they begin to encroach on police officers and begin to beat them and bludgeon them? Police are going to just either sit there and get killed or they're going to have to use deadly force. Now, the news article of cops shooting and killing students on campus is no good for them. So they don't want to engage and get in a situation like that. However, if I was the chief, I would deploy law enforcement officers from the state, from the county, from the municipality, and campus police to all show up on campus and use extreme force that is necessary to deter incidents like this from happening. You do it one time, Benny, they will never come to campus again because they know it's going to be violence. And you would never have a problem and you could protect free speech a lot easier. I went to University of Texas right after this. What happened at the University of Texas? Nothing. The cops escorted me from the car. They stood around and protected the thing. And of course, the kids on his nutty at the University of Texas as they are at UC Davis. But nothing happened. And if something were to happen, the police would deploy immediately. They would use force to protect free speech. This is what we hire police to do, Benny. They're not supposed to be statues and just stand around and look cute. They are to risk their lives to defend the freedoms of these people. Like when I was a cop, I raised my hand and swore to uphold the Constitution. That doesn't mean it's when it's convenient for me. And so if I was on a campus and somebody was saying that they hate police officers and they hope that we all die, I will still stand there and defend their freedom to speak because it's bigger than just me standing on a campus. This is democracy. This is our country, or better yet, this is the constitutional republic that our founding fathers founded, that God ordained. We have to protect it at all costs. And if you don't want to do that, then don't wear the uniform. Just take it off and go home and work another job. You get paid more anyway. So it was very frustrating at UC Davis. I will say this, that was the only university that I went to that had violence. There's nutty kids at every university I went to, except Texas. For some reason, Texas had everybody was smart at Texas, and they all were fair and disagreed, but they were reasonable. But no one was violent. And that's the difference between these universities.
The irony here is so sharp, you could cut paper with it. So we talk about Carmelo Anthony, and we talk about that case, and what would happen if it was reversed. Well, Brandon, this is a reverse, technically, on paper. This is a mob of translucent-skinned little vampires coming up and attacking a black dude. It's like a mob of them, right? And they have weapons, they're being violent, and they're surrounding you. You have to fight back, and you're like left alone. The cops just like leave you be.
Yeah.
The cops let them do it, in fact. And so we do actually we have the reverse. The only difference is that you're not woke. And so you can't claim like, woke privilege. But that's it. On paper, what we have here is is exactly what we were talking about.
Benny, just imagine this. Just imagine that I was a black activist and the kids that showed up with masks and stuff were neo-Nazis. Just imagine. And they came and tore my stuff up like this. I'm telling you right now, Benny, they wouldn't have let it happen. They wouldn't have let it happen.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just that I'm conservative, and so I don't count as being black. And they are liberals and leftist nut jobs, so they can do whatever violence they want to do against a black man. It's crazy to me, man. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like the first time I felt this hatred from the left was when I went to Trump's rally the first time in like 2015 in Tucson. I felt what I think what it was like when Martin Luther King was getting ambushed and hated and stuff was thrown at him when he was in Birmingham and other places that they had gone to stand up for their freedoms. I felt the same here. But the difference is it doesn't matter because I'm conservative. So white people can beat a black man to death. They can bludgeon a black man, destroy his events, yell slurs at him. They called me Uncle Tom and a sellout. They were calling me names. You can say whatever you want to a black man if he's conservative. But if I'd gone on the campus, and I almost wish that we could stage this, Benny, so we can see what really happened. I almost want to stage it. I want to go on campus as a Black Lives Matter activist, and I'm standing up against racism, and I want to stage a bunch of neo-Nazi white kids with swastikas, and I want them to come and tear my tent up. I put my life on it, Benny. Them cops would have been beating the daylights out of neo-Nazis and protecting black voices. Or, let's do this, Benny. I'm trans. I'm in the LGBTQ AARP, NAACP, NCAA. I'm in this alphabet soup organization, and I'm trans, and I'm expressing trans rights. And these Christian nationalists come and tear my tent up because they don't believe in gay marriage. Benny, they would bludgeon Christians, pepper spray them, beat them over the head, arrest them, and they will be kicked off campus. They will come and geo-track every phone that was associated. The FBI will get involved, and they will kick everybody off campus and put them in prison. This, I promise you, that's what will happen.
That's such a great point. Why isn't there federal involvement here? This is a hate crime against
it's
you.
A hate crime, man.
It's a hate crime. This is Harmeet Dillon. Harmeet Dillon lives not too far from that campus, and she's now the civil rights attorney at the DOJ. It's like,
if I talk to Trump, maybe I'll mention this. Maybe I'll mention this if I ever get a chance to talk one-on-one with Trump about this,
hate crime,
or anybody in the administration. Yeah. Because I think this, Benny, I don't know what level it needs to go on, but when you attack people based on their political affiliation, that is a hate crime. Because we have the freedom to speak. You are essentially suppressing my freedom to speak, and you're suppressing my freedom to vote. That is a constitutional right for me to vote. And when you try to suppress my vote through violence, just like the KKK did against black people and others who wanted to vote Republican, when you do that, you are violating my constitutional rights and you are committing a hate crime. It is no different than me saying, I don't like you because you're trans, so I'm going to attack you because you're trans. It's the same thing as saying, I don't like you because you're a Republican. So I'm gonna hurt you and intimidate you with force and violence so that you never vote for that party again. I don't know how we haven't passed this because it's not right that you can't wear a Trump hat, you can't support the Republican Party without being fear of getting killed. How much does this curb the vote? How many people are afraid to even express themselves? They're afraid to even support conservatives. They're afraid to show up to the polls. Afraid to donate to conservatives because they're fear of retribution. They will get kicked off their jobs, alienated from their families. This is the same thing that used to happen if you married a black man or if you supported black causes. They would alienate you. If you're a black man going for the Republican Party and you wanted to own a gun and be a fair citizen, they will hang you from a tree. It's no different than what they're doing now. They're full of soy, so they're not gangster enough to really do no real damage. But if they could, they would.
It's like such a great, I mean, who has the jurisdiction? Well, actually, the Federal Civil Rights Unit does, because they attacked you and they were trying to steal your civil rights to speak. Why not bring federal? I mean, you want to shut this really down. Yeah, you're exactly right. GeoTrack, the feds know exactly who was there. They can track every single cell phone. They committed multiple offenses against you, and they should be charged federally. They should be called down to the federal courthouse, every one of those little Antifas, and get us those that epic slate of mug shots with all the purple hair, and let's all see let's see the zits and the yellow teeth, and unmask them and put them on federal charges, man. Break them. Yeah. This is how you do it. And I've been waiting for this moment. This is such a great point, Brandon, and we're gonna really bang the drum for this. We know Harmeet well. I know you do too. And along with Leo Terrell, who's also there, who's a friend of the show. So, final thing I wanted to say to you, Brandon. I'll help you with the costuming. If you want to be a Black Lives Matter, I want to see you in Bob Marley dreadlocks. Is what I want, like a big Rastafarian hat, right? I want that, the giant joint, right? And let's see what happens. I can see it. I can already see it, man. That would be great. The other thing that would happen here, and Mark, save this clip. The other thing that would happen, Brandon, is you would suddenly get interview requests. So the corporate media would fall for this in like a heartbeat. And you would get requests to go, you'd be like Borat is what you'd be. You'd get like requests to go on every single show. CNN would be like begging, ABC News, Good Morning America, they'd be begging you, please come on our programming. That's a great idea.
We should do a little GoFundMe too. So
that's right.
Look, Benny, you can't use me because I'm too popular, but let's get another black person that's not as prominent and that's readily identifiable. Let's put them in there, get some white people to stage, and then to go and attack a black man. I mean, if we wouldn't, if obviously we would have to return the money, but if we could somehow stage it and donate the money to a good cause or something, I would 100% do it. Benny, we would raise $20 million. I would go on TV or whoever go on TV with a black eye and a fake black eye and cry and say, this is America. We've seen them try it, right? Bubba Wallace tried it. What's the dumb dude from Justice Smollett tried it? Yeah. Bro, they were all over the world. Celebrities were. I can't believe this happened to you. Black Lives Matter. And they're so ready for this, Benny, that they're waiting for white people to actually commit a crime against black people because they only got fake stuff, LeBron and all them fake and hate crimes. They can't wait for the image of this is what black people go through every day in America, and it's all fake, and we would be wealthy. If we could have only started Black Lives Matter. Benny, if you'd have cut your hair low and get an edge up with a taper fade like this, put some gold teeth in your mouth, and you say that you're mixed race, me and you could have been leading a black coalition. You don't even really have to be black. Just act black. Yeah, and we could have been making hundreds of millions of dollars and buying yachts and buying houses in all white neighborhoods. Oh, they already did that. Patrice
they did. In fact, we already have that character that you can play. It's called Sean King, called Talcum X. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Brandon, we have to do this more often. This was a lot of fun. The audience, the crowd goes wild. And also, you got to go follow Brandon. Here's his X account. He's got 830,000 subscribers there. He's got 3.5 million on YouTube as well. Make sure that you follow him there. He is a proud husband, former police officer, an incredible content creator, and somebody who's like literally willing to fight for this country. Yes. And has done so his entire life. So God bless you, Brandon. Godspeed, man. And let's action some of these ideas. These would be really fun. This would be really funny.
Well, God bless you, Benny, man. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, man. You never know what you're going to get. Brandon Tatum's one of the good ones. I love having YouTubers on, man. I love having like people who like do, there's like a certain, when you're in front of the camera, right? And you're like letting her rip, there's like a certain way that like you can just lock in, you know? And you know that Tatum's going to just bring the fire. It's like, there's like a specific energy to it. It's Tatum's just bring the fire, man. Make sure that you're following Brandon. If you're not, I'm sure you are, if you're not locked in with his content after that. Whoo! We're going viral today, Alex. Okay. Make sure that you lock in with your cellular device. Patriot Mobile is the company that can make sure that you are connected to us, that you can watch these. Looks like we're rounding the corner on 2-hour lives. It's always fun to do the show and to make sure that we are connected together. I don't know if it was a Patriot Mobile phone filming all that protest footage for Brandon Tatum, but they keep us connected for anything like that happens. You never know what's going to happen. You also need to know that your money is going to a company that supports your values, and that is Patriot Mobile, the only Christian conservative wireless provider. You'll get exceptional nationwide coverage. Unlike most budget wireless providers, Patriot Mobile has access to all 3 major networks. You can add 2 numbers on 2 networks with 1 phone, something the big guys can't even do. Stay connected. Flexible, unlimited data plans that fit your lifestyle. These plans offered high-speed data, mobile hotspots, international roaming, device protection, and internet backup. We use that, all of it, on our program right now. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT, get a free month of service with promo code Benny. Make the switch today. Defend freedom with every single call or text that you make. patriotmobile.com/Benny. patriotmobile.com/Benny. Why didn't we ask about Joe Biden? I completely forgot. We went on tangents with Tatum. We forgot about Joe Biden. Joe Biden decided to crawl out from his coffin yesterday and gives a speech and reminisced about colored people. Joe Biden's going to Joe Biden. Here we go.
And I had never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time and I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
Is that what you called them? Is that what they're called? What are they called today, Joe, exactly? Because you just said colored people, colored kids. What exactly are they called today? This is like the headline. Back into the coffin, Joe. Back, like Natus Fratu. Like it's just like go back. They're not going to let him out ever again. He's done. They're never going to let him out ever again. Speaking of an absolutely exciting moment in Democrat politics, social media has erupted with AOC's brand new accent that she has burst out at a rally. AOC has decided to pull a Kamala Harris here with a brand new accent. Let's listen.
Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
Excuse me, I have caviar and my mimosa waiting for me on first class as I fly coast to coast in a $5,000 ticket, which is what AOC has been caught in 4K doing. Yeah, right? Their little fight oligarchy. And her line, she says that every single time. She says, that's what she says. She said this is a line she uses at every one of these little rallies. It's just a different accent. I don't even know. How do we even quantify that accent? Danny, what is that accent? Danny's Spanish. Danny speaks Spanish. What was that accent, Danny? What was that? Is that the official? Is that an officially what a Latinx sounds like? I've never heard a Latinx speak. Is that the official Latinx? Danny, what is it? I don't know. He's typing. Jennifer Lopez on boxed wine. Got it. Danny El Diablo. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that accent. I don't understand. I don't know what that would be. What exactly is that? Somebody explain, please. You gotta love it, though. Talk about disappearing things from the news cycle. Just one final little thing. Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. We're very proud of ourselves for like putting party aside. I don't like this guy, but like I'm very proud of putting party aside and like condemning. Obviously, we're going to condemn somebody tried to burn his house down while he was inside with his kids. Never, ever any justification for this. We don't want that to happen. We don't like that to happen. They tried to pin this on MAGA. Well, it's a Trump supporter who did this. Well, he's a self-described socialist who's actually a left-wing Palestinian activist. Got it? Got it. Josh Shapiro is Jewish, and he's doing this to free Palestine. So, poof! There goes the news story. You'll never hear another word about it. Okay? I just wanted to play the bagpipes for this one. Like that's the funeral. You never hear another word. Oh, it's far left wing, socialist, Palestinian activist that was trying to attack a Jewish governor. Got it. Doesn't fit the narrative. We needed him to be wearing a MAGA hat. Next time, hey, FBI, next time you run one of these guys, set them up. You got to make sure he's wearing the MAGA hat. Remember? Our consultant, Jesse Smollett, he's been telling us this. See ya! So the news cycle, it's all, it's evil. At least we have the moral clarity to like totally condemn it. But yeah, it doesn't fit the narrative, so it's officially done. If he was a Republican, if he was a Trump supporter, this would be the #1 story on earth for months. Sayonara. Okay. Do we have some Harry Enten? Do we have Harry Enten? Do we have to, is it good? What is it? What is it? What is it? Is it any good? Is there any good? Ladies and gentlemen, we will do super chats tomorrow. We're gonna put up we're gonna get like a schedule. We're gonna get like a schedule going. We'll do super chats tomorrow. Our verse of the day today is Proverbs 12:20. Deceit is in the heart of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy. Deceit is in the heart of those who plot evil. Those who promote peace have joy. I didn't even know this was going to be our verse of the day. I always read it like fresh with you. Kind of like the memes. I like to watch it fresh. What did we just say about Josh Shapiro? Like, I want peace. I wish peace for even my deepest, darkest political enemies. I want peace for them. I don't want people to suffer. I'm not here for suffering. I want to live in a high trust society where we settle our differences at the ballot box or in robust debate, not by stabbing each other in the heart at a track meet. Don't plot evil. Don't premeditate these things. Promote peace. Have joy in your life. And really, that is the single greatest privilege in life, actually, is to be able to go to bed and sleep at night, to be able to go home to a happy household and to have things under control, to have the joy of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in this Holy Week. I hope that you find joy, ladies and gentlemen. Verse of the day, it's Holy Week. We're rounding the corner on Easter, so I want Easter passages. Let's stuff from Luke. Let's go dark. Let's go deep into like Luke. Yeah, the lead up to Christ's crucifixion is where we're heading, and then the resurrection. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always really exciting. It's always really fun to do the show. Here's the Benny Brigade. If you wish to join and support our program, there are ways to do this. People ask all the time. You can become a member of the Benny Brigade. You can become a member on our social platforms. We have those opportunities on X and on Rumble and on YouTube. If you wish to support what we're doing here, the number one news, fastest growing news stream in the world, and we're expanding and growing rapidly. And it's all because of you, and we're just profoundly thankful and humbled by it every single day. And so we just want to say thank you, and we just want to say we love you. Hearts out to the chat. We'll do super chats tomorrow. Godspeed. God bless. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Let's talk about Trump voters and how they feel. Do they regret their vote?
I mean, this is the big question, right? I hear all these stories, all these articles. All the Trump voters, they regret what they did back in 2024. I'm here to tell you, very few of them regret what they did back in 2024. What are we talking about? Trump voters looking back at 2024. We got a new poll out. The poll was conducted this month. What percentage would change their vote to a different candidate? We're talking just 2%, just 2%. That's not even a wide spot on the road. And then there's this additional 1% who say they would rather not vote. We're talking overall under 5% might or would have changed their vote, Donald Trump voters back in 2024. And then you ask, okay, the same question to Kamala Harris voters, and it turns out the numbers are rather similar. So if there was a repeat, if folks got to be able to redo their vote that they had back in 2024, would the result be any different? I doubt it would be. I doubt it would be, or it would still be extremely close. The bottom line is, for all this talk of Trump voters regretting their vote, in the numbers, it really just doesn't show up, John.
So the stickiness with Trump voters and President Trump in this presidency, how does it compare to his first presidency?
Yeah, okay. So, I was interested in sort of a historical analogy here, sort of, does this look similar or different from back in 2017, looking at 2016? Well, in February of 2017, 4% of Trump voters say they'd shift their vote. That's actually slightly more than the 3% this time around. So, you look back, you say, okay, there's these Trump voters who really regret their vote. Historically speaking, they really don't regret their vote. And if anything, the number this time around is actually smaller than it was the first time around. And it's certainly smaller than the number we saw coming out of 2020, of course, after the events of January 6th. So the bottom line is this. If there's some idea out there that Trump voters are going around, man, I wish I had voted for Kamala Harris instead of Donald Trump, the numbers say that is a fanciful universe. It really, for the most part, does not.
Mr. Trizzle Dizzle, I thought I told you to pay me $500 million. Did you bring that money today?
No.
Well, that's too bad. I need my money, sucker. So what I'm going to do is take all your properties in New York and start selling. Did you just flip me off?
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. If you don't shape up and get your head straight. See there, you just did it again.
No, I didn't.
This ship sails through the night. It glows in a moonlit fog. On deck, you'll find a camel, the rarest kind of dog. It has tusks like a walrus. It has humps like a whale. With fur like a lion. It has teeth like a snail. What is this I see? The sound of a camel is a magical sound to me. The sound of a camel. Through the fleet, bombard the corporate sea, glycan through splinting trees, emerging from the debris. What is this I see? The sound of a camel is a magical sound to me. The sound of a camel.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1.